Hi, dreamers. As promised, I thought today I would do a quick video on Altria, ticker symbol MO, which, as you know, I have about 3,000 shares of. And I've often talked about how overweight I am in the tobacco sector. And so what are my current thoughts about MO? Well, if you go into Seeking Alpha and you take a look at the dividend scorecard, you can see great grades for dividend growth, yield, and consistency. And the reason for that is that MO is one of the top stocks for consecutive dividend payouts and dividend growth with 53 years. They've got a 5-year CAGR of 5.85, a payout ratio of about 76%, and a beautiful dividend yield of 9.37 right now. And with their forward commitment to dividend payouts, where they make those commitments several quarters in advance, Mo has been a dividend income stock you can count on for a long time. But the question becomes, how long is Mo a hold into the future, given the larger macroeconomic conditions for the tobacco industry? And so let's take a look at the overall statistics for cigarettes in the United States. And here you can see some forecasts, with revenue almost $83 billion in 2023, and pretty much a flat forecast for 2024 and 2025, and then a slight decrease in 2026, 27, and 28 in terms of revenue. So let's dig into that just a little bit. And so this next graph shows the average revenue per capita, and here you can also see a decline from $275.50 per capita in US dollars to $265.40. And so here we can read this analyst opinion that cigarettes represent more than 90% of the value in the traditional tobacco products market, and that the mainstay of big tobacco has come under heightened scrutiny from regulatory bodies and the public, which has been going on for a while, which has led to the enduring decline in volume sales. And with the high levels of taxation, roughly half of all revenues go directly to the state in the form of various excise duties and sales taxes. And so here we can see demographics, which the most interesting ones are users by age, where you can see 13.5% 55 to 64, 21% or 45 to 54, and 28% 35 to 44. And so the big takeaway here is that most of the smokers are in the older demographics. Now, this might be the money chart, because this is actually the volume in billion pieces, and you can see the forecast right here, from about 201 billion pieces in 2023, declining to about 172 billion pieces in 2028. And that's really the big decline that is most concerning. And you can see it starting to accelerate over the next several years. But conversely, the price per unit has gone up, and this is really how Altria has been able to keep their revenues relatively flat over time, by fighting the volume decrease by increasing prices. So it's kind of interesting when you take a look at the Seeking Alpha articles on Altria, because if you scroll down and take a look at what bulls say versus what bears say, on the bull side, the argument is that Altria has a stellar track record and a management team that really knows how to manage a declining market. And since they've already stated their commitment to the dividend, that they're a relatively stable pick over the next handful of years. But the bears say that Altria's revenues are being undercut by vaping products, which is reducing cigarette sales in addition to their aging population of demographics, and others point out that they're facing that terminal decline that we just took a look at, relying solely on price hikes and efficiency enhancements, which ultimately won't be able to counterbalance the plummet in volume. And so if you do further research, you may say, well, the e-cigarettes might actually help them, because you probably have read they're investing in Enjoy, and trying to accelerate the development of that and lobbying. And the global e-cigarette and vape market is estimated to grow from a US $22.5 billion in 2022 to about $28 billion in 2023. But that alone may not be enough to make up for the loss in the traditional tobacco sector for Altria, in addition to the fact that there's other competition in the vape market. Now, the wild card for me has always been cannabis, and this is something that Altria is definitely focused on, which you can see on their website. And they've put out there front and center that we support a comprehensive federal framework for all cannabis products that is based on science and evidence, and believe it's time for a national dialogue about that regulatory framework. And for me, this has always been the X factor. and that if cannabis became a major product for Altria, that could be a game changer for this company in terms of revenue and growth. But I also wanted to point out another thing that's kind of interesting, that when you take a look at the revenue of tobacco products worldwide, that you can actually see a market of about $941 billion in 2023, continuing to have growth every single year through 2027 worldwide. And a lot of that is actually driven by China, which actually makes other tobacco companies that are more international potentially a little bit different in their growth trajectory and opportunities, like BTI and Philip Morris, which have more of an international play. And so what does this all mean for me in terms of my thinking around Mo or Altria? It means that I continue to hold, as I rely on this cash flow short term. But it also means that I continue to monitor closely as I think about being a little bit too overweight in tobacco. And as I think about my three holdings of Mo, BTI, and PM, Mo would probably be the one that I would reduce my share count first, simply because it's pretty confined to the US market and the regulatory decisions inside of it. And although I see the vaping products and sector as a part of the growth and normalization for Mo, I really do think that their cannabis future is really the killer app that they need in order to be a company that continues to pay out 53 years into the future. And so for me, I've been holding Mo for so many years now, and certainly it's been a stability through this accelerated downturn, but I might be coming up shortly on taking some of those shares and reinvesting and redeploying those into other opportunities where I now see some similar yield opportunities with the potential of appreciation rebound, which I see coming up on the horizon. So I hope that was helpful for you as you think about whether or not you continue to hold, sell, or buy more Mo, and for how long. And of course, I'll be keeping my eye out for future cannabis regulatory announcements. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this dividend income update. And if you want a richer real-time experience with me, you can always follow me on Instagram or Twitter. And if you're doing your own research using Seeking Alpha, feel free to find the link below to subscribe if you want, no pressure. And as always, I encourage you to do your own research, then implement and learn by putting it into practice. And as a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. So keep in mind these videos are for entertainment and inspiration only. I'll see you on the flip side.